Because we had seats even over there.
Kelly, can you try and like see if Ariane can?
Ariane, can you?
Marianne, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear the room now.
Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Copy.
I can hear you.
Okay, who out there do we have?
This is John.
This is
Okay, I got John,
and Haley is here.
Haley,
Ariane.
is that it?
Brian's on the list.
I saw the name there,
I'm actually in person.
but you're,
I signed on accidentally on the computer.
He's here in person.
I'm here.
it looks like we have Blair
Blair Holman, yeah.
and Catherine. All right,
Okay, so since we don't have Claire here, so I will call the meeting to order. Approval of the February 27, 2020 minutes. Can I get a motion for that?
So
I actually have one small correction that needs to be made.
Sure.
I was looking over the list of attendees, and my last name is spelled with two A's. So Lagasse. Thanks.
sorry
Okay.
Haley.
No worries. Thank you.
Okay, can I get a motion for approval of February 27, 2020 minutes?
So moved.
Get a second?
I approve, yes.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Citizens input, public comment. There's no citizens. So we will go to public comment form. John, I'm going to have you kind of step in and give us the history of the after the fact for 810 as we walk through these.
Okay.
So go ahead and explain
810
810.
Was one of our street trees. It didn't follow city code. It was too close to the corner. And when we did the ADA improvements and then put up a flashing crosswalk sign, that tree was in conflict. So we removed that tree.
Okay, so just to make sure everybody understands, the location of that tree where it was originally planted was in a safety zone of where we installed some rapid flyer pedestrian crossing, and that is the reason why we needed to remove the tree. Correct?
Yes.
So that's it. It had to. So that explains that one. We had no choice because it was a safety-related issue. And then we have after the fact, 12th Street right-of-way, 1222 Minnesota. What was the status on that one, John?
Last time I was out there, he had not removed that tree. He was informed that that would be at his expense, and I don't think he was real excited about that. So I haven't looked for a couple of weeks, but last time I was out there, they were still standing.
Okay, but because it's a budding row, it's his responsibility to remove it. We assessed it, and the Arbor's report said it's serious issue, correct?
I have not seen an Arborist report either.
Okay, so who is getting that Arbor's report?
I put that on the homeowner.
Okay, so I would say we need to follow up with that homeowner to ensure that tree or that report has been created. And if it hasn't, then we need to initiate it and then go through our enforcement to ratify it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank
So
you.
will I take care, Kelly take care of that?
All right, appreciate it. So, I'm going to put that one up there to come. Okay, after the fact, we have southwest corner of 6th and Commercial. What's the history there?
Okay, that was a flowering plum tree that started leaning out into the street. It was low enough that cars were starting to hit it. I had Patrick Myers look at it. It was actually starting to pull the root ball, so we made the determination to remove the tree.
So the root ball, you're saying the roots were surface mounted and creating the issue, and that's why it was short-lived?
No, they just, as the tree was coming over, it was starting to pull the root ball up. So I can't speak to what was going on underground, but it was pulling the root ball.
Okay.
It wasn't just growing away; it was actually starting to tip over.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of, because it's difficult to hear you, I'm going to kind of relate to everybody again in my words. From what I understand, the tree is falling over, poses a safety concern. Patrick Myers has assessed the tree and recommend removal because the root ball is diseased or dying and it's leaning toward the road. Is that correct?
That is correct.
There you go. So that's a recommendation from Narvis to go ahead and move forward, so we will move forward with it for the safety issue.
That tree is actually gone.
And that's after the fact, we already did it.
So the tree's already
That-
removed?
Has that tree been removed?
It has.
It has.
All right,
Confirmation.
onward.
And then we have another after the fact, 1106 Hemlock. I'll
Those
read it
trees have
since-
not been removed. Again, the homeowner was looking for the city. I explained to him that, yes, they were a safety issue, but because they were abutting property, it was his responsibility.
That must be these.
Yeah, let's see which one. Yes. So are you, okay, yeah.
Oh,
So I'm seeing a picture here with a group of trees up against the fence. Are those the ones you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay. I can see. A lot of those are dead, it looks like.
yeah, they're already gone.
Yeah. So, and this was after the fact, and they've been removed, correct?
They have not been removed.
Okay, well, I don't know about the board. I'll get a motion from the board on this, but I think they need to be removed.
They're a mess.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we're gonna move that one forward to removal. Thank you. Southeast corner of City Hall, Noble Fir.
Yeah. I don't know where to.
That is one that I hope Rex Miller is present. That tree is not healthy. We've been able to keep it alive and functioning so far. We wanted to have a discussion about it's inevitable at some time that tree is going to fail, and we're just trying to prepare the tree board for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we're reading up, I'm just following up on a email. I'm gonna read this.
Yeah. Got it.
So this is Noble Fir at the southeast corner of City Hall has been unhealthy for many years. Some history provided by Rex Miller is that the tree was donated by Weyerhaeuser when the City Hall was built. There is a thin layer of soil in the landscape area, but the tree is trying to grow in a sandy footing. I continue to have Rex doctor the tree, and it was slowed and declining significantly. The tree is still very much alive and continues to grow, but each year we lose more and more foliage. The reality is someday the tree will die. So,
We don't have a picture of that, do we?
yeah, you know, there's no picture in here of that tree, is there, John? No. No, there isn't. We didn't get a picture of it. But
Sorry,
I
there
can
is
tell
not.
you in reference where that tree is located, if you go out this back door of City Hall, and as you're facing east or west, to the left of the parking lot, to that corner where the transformer box
Ran-
is, it's that tree that stands
Randy.
right there. I know for a fact
No.
it sheds and the limbs drop all the time on it, because I park in that
You
corner.
gotta stop parking sitting there.
Yeah, I know, I should. Yes.
Randy, that is not the tree. The tree in
Oh.
question is that noble fir that's outside of your office.
Oh, you're talking about the front side. That's a big tree. That's
Yeah.
the big one. That's the
Yeah.
other one.
Yeah,
On the very front parking side, if you're coming into City Hall on the left, there's a fairly old growth tree, but it is diseased and dying.
Never noticed.
If you look at it, you'll see all the way up the bark, it's been trimmed. Every time we lose the branches or a part of it, we get in there, obviously take the limb off because it would drop on somebody walking by the City Hall. That's the tree we're referring to, and it will take a crane and major work to get it down. But it's at a situation, it will die.
Yeah.
There's no saving it, so, anyway. Time is something that it has, but over years, eventually, it will end up doing damage either to City Hall and or to someone. Recommendation is to go ahead and move forward and remove it.
So is it sick enough that a windstorm might give us a big surprise?
Well, we've moved, it's hard, what I can tell you is, all the limbs that were down here, this thing, I don't think there's even limbs above the roof line anymore
Oh,
for the tree, so it's really
It's a
canopy
goner.
heavy up here. And
It's
so
tough.
heavy winds blowing in here has a protection with City Hall here, but not beyond
But
the
it's
top of
top
the
heavy.
roof. Eventually, yes, it could potentially come. I would recommend it come out and we replant a real nice one, but before we do that, we really need to look at the soils around there and permit that soil base, dig down and get a good root
yeah, I
base
wonder if we
going.
should even put another tree.
And that might be something we could not do it all and do
'Cause
low
if-
vegetation in there.
Yeah, if the soil is that light
It's very
and sandy,
it's
that would be
loomy.
kind of a dumb move.
Yeah, it's very loomy.
Take the tree out.
Okay, so we got a motion to take a tree out.
Exactly.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, so the tree will come out. And just for clarity again, I want to make sure everybody's on point. So as you're turning on Fifth and you're approaching City Hall parking on the front side, it will be the tree to the south corner of City Hall footprint. Okay?
The southeast corner.
Southeast corner. Thank you, brother.
And I assume you'll replant it with something more appropriate.
Yes, well, what we'll do is bring back a planting diagram and say, we ought to probably look at the entire footprint of City Hall and really look at what we need to do here. So we'll bring back a footprint of City Hall and get a master plan for what looks good for here.
I think we ought to go out and look at the soil before we talk about planting anything else in there.
Yeah, I know about that.
Yeah. Okay, the next item is the dangerous tree in Mingus Park. So, John, I'm going to give a little history on that because I've got that. I kind of know the history on that one. The Mingus Park, there as you approach that restroom, that's that big tree directly behind it, and we've talked about it before. We've done everything to try to keep this tree. It's a beautiful tree. We all hate losing trees. But this, as you know, we also have a rehabilitation plan for Mingus Park coming. So that means that back end of that southern end of the park is going to get quite a lot of work. And that tree is very unsafe. It's dying, but the thing of it is, the branches on this thing are humongous. And as they die, and if they ever fell, it's not a if and when, it would really take out someone's life. So right now, I am wanting to be ahead of this program and get rid of that tree, and then as we roll into rehabilitation of that end of the park, then we can talk about suitable trees that go in that location. It's a shame, it is a beautiful tree, but we're at a point right now we need to move forward with removal of it.
Yeah, I thought we would see a lot of dying when we did that sewer line. Because those branches, I mean, the roots can go for so long.
I know, and you keep in mind, it went right within that, you know, I think the tree had issues before the project kicked, I'll say that.
And we didn't help it.
But I think, yes, I think the impact was a shock to it, and it took it the rest of the way. So, in my opinion, we need to move forward with removal before it becomes a major issue.
I don't think we have a choice.
No, we do not. So I would like to put on the table a motion to remove the tree in Mingus Park. per the site plan that is provided in the packet for the tree board here. Can I get a motion?
So
I'll make
moved.
a motion that we remove that tree from the park as soon as possible, so that it'll prevent anybody from getting hurt and preventing from possible windstorms coming up in October, November.
Great.
And we need to get that down.
Okay, so we got a motion on the table. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, and I will report that because of the nature of the tree, we have taken the initiative to already schedule demoing of that tree because of the safety matter, the high importance of it.
Gee, Randy, does it make you nervous?
Yes, it does. Because we have Patrick Meyer scheduled to come in on Tuesday with a crane, and I have Pacific Power that's got to be there to take the power off the building because the tree's so big. They have to have a crane there to hold it in place as they demo the tree. So I just wanted to let everybody know that is on slate. So when you see, Kelly will be releasing a PSA probably tomorrow for next week, so we'll let the
Yeah,
public
we
know
need to get
what's
that
going
word
on.
out.
So, yeah.
And do not take your kiddies to the park that day.
Exactly, so we'll be doing some security there as well. Thank you.
Good idea.
Randy,
Yes,
for clarification, that work is scheduled for Monday morning.
no, it's not, we changed that, it's the 29th. You've been
You
asleep.
did-
You've
I've
been
been
sleeping,
asleep.
John,
Okay.
but we got it.
All right,
Okay, and the
sounds
last
good.
item that is in the tree removal request is 2550 Coos Bay Boulevard. John, give us some history.
Okay, we got a request from Jay Farr, who's the new owner of that home, concerned about those trees. They've been topped before. There's multiple stems growing out of the main trunk down close to the ground on this. So, because we don't top trees, because that tends to provide safety issues, I've authorized removal of that tree. Kind of a plus that I've never run into is that Mr. Farr has offered to work with the city and with Rex to provide some trees for the Safe Routes project over at Eastside as an offset.
Well, as Jay has pointed out, topping is not a good idea.
No.
I would think that if he wants that tree out of there, let him take it out properly, because he's gonna have a mess if he tops it.
I agree. Yeah, we don't want it, and not only that, tree topping goes against our tree ordinance.
Yes, it does.
So we would not allow that to begin with. So I think in this specific recommendation would be for the board to either accept the complete removal of the tree.
Yeah,
And then what I would say is, in lieu of that, let's talk about maybe possibly replanting something somewhere else.
yeah, well, he mentions that he'd be happy to do that.
That's what I'm saying, so.
Yeah, so-
So we could pick a location at a later time and then come back to Jay and say, hey, Jay, we got a couple of spots. Something to think about is, the project we're doing out there on the east side, you know, the Safe Routes to School would be on that east side of the road. There's no trees there. We got plenty of room and all kinds of area to
Yeah,
plant.
and they'll serve as a nice windbreak there too.
And it would work as a windbreak too.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
It's a
so
good
can,
trade-off.
okay, so we get a motion for the J. Favre tree to be removed.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Second.
Ah, there we go. And then, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so we will send a letter to Jay informing what the board's decision here is and thanking him for his tribute to donate a tree in our likings at another location when we're ready.
But we are removing the tree, right?
But we will remove the tree. Not top, because it's not in our, yeah.
Now, do we remove it or does he?
No, it would have to be him remove it
Yeah,
at his
there you go.
expense.
Because you said we.
Yeah, yeah, well, I clarify that. Let me make sure the homeowner, Jay Favre.
Well, a clarification from me, he agreed to take the tree completely out. He was not going to top it.
He agreed to take the tree out, right?
Yes, he was not going to top it. Somebody else had topped it previously. That's what's caused the problem.
Okay, but he understands it's at his cost.
Yes.
Okay, that's my point. All right, thank you.
He's trying to sell his house, you know.
Okay, is Rex Miller with us? Okay, so we'll have to table this. We'll get an update on the maps. I know Micah here local in our department. I know he has been working and had made some of them other maps already, but we have not formulated that. But we will be coming back full house on that. And then on 6 here, just let me kind of reiterate. I want to make sure everybody understands. Back here before this pandemic started, and we got all derailed on our meetings here, we had a meeting about moving forward with the mapping and talking about different projects that we were coming up with. One of them that's been on the target for some days, some months, some years, is I believe it is Ingersoll, and at the top of the hill where we have all those trees, it's uprooted all the sidewalk there. And we wanted, in fact, Tree Board has identified that area and that corridor as unsafe, and it is. There's no doubt about it. The problem is budget when it comes into this type of work, because there's like 5 or 6 trees in that corridor. I'd have to recount my estimates again. And they're not small trees. These are fairly large trees with a pretty good trunk, and they've uprooted all the sidewalk in that corridor. To replace from one end to the other end sidewalk, you know, we have estimates ranging anywhere from $70,000 to $100,000 in sidewalk, curb, and gutter work, just for that, not talking about the tree work yet. So I put that, I got all the numbers together and put it before management, and it's just that we have so many irons out there that we need to stay focused with the sidewalks we're working on right now, and then put this in another budget year solely on its own, because it is a capital cost, and then roll into that project once we have those funds secured by council.
When's the next budget year?
I start the budget process this winter, and then by January, I'll have my budget ready to go to Jim, which then he takes it on up the chain, and we work through that process. Now, I could possibly get it in the 21, after July 1st, 21, or 2021, if council approves of that, and depending on what other projects I have out there that they prioritize.
Except for the broken sidewalks, is there any other danger that might pop up and hit us over the head?
The trees are, that's the thing.
The trees are really happy?
Yeah.
What kind of trees?
You know, Blair, I wouldn't want to speculate to tell you. John, do you know what trees those are?
I want to say some kind of a willow, but I don't know that with certainty.
What was that? Willow? No? Well, okay,
Well-
I think you're right. I think there's one in the next block, but they're not all willows. I think there's a couple of maples in there.
Hawthorns, maybe?
Yep, that's what I think. And, you know, they get big. They do get big. These aren't small trees. I'm going to say 18 to 22 inch caliber, you know, with a pretty good root base down here above any of the soil and the curb. And I mean, most of those curbs are a good 12, 14 inches below the root wads already, because the roots are exposed here. If you have a chance, drive by at some point and just take a
So
look.
tell me again where Ingersoll and,
Yeah, so it's on Ingersoll. As you go, if you come up Fourth and just take Ingersoll and head up like you're going to the school, you can't miss them. There's 2 blocks on the right-hand side as you go up toward the school.
so do a lot of kids walk up the
Ran-
sidewalk?
Well, that's the thing, not on that side. They usually hit the other side because it's safe. There's no trees that's creating that side. It's only on the north side of Ingersoll in those 2 blocks.
My question is,
Randy?
why do people walk up the sidewalk?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, is because because the sidewalk itself has a lot of unevenness to it, they go to the other side of the street and walk in.
Okay.
And, you know, and that's one thing that we may want to consider doing, and I'm glad you brought that up, Blair, is maybe we need just to close them 2 blocks off. And, you know, the homeowners, they know, they've been dealing with it every freaking year, because they come in and go out of their home and there's your sidewalk. But it's not their responsibility. This is clearly a city project because the nature of the trees that were planted back in the day that have created the issues at hand.
Okay.
The issues we have right now is because we're trying to get a handle on our downtown sidewalks before we start reaching out. We've got so many in here we're trying to handle, then reach out to those residential areas. So the priority is where the immediate impact is and then hit those other areas. But we got a plan. We're working that way.
Yeah, I'll just.
Randy,
question
can I
you
make-
on the use of the sidewalk.
Yeah. What was that, John?
You have identified Ingersoll. This is actually on Hall between 5th and 7th.
Did I misstate? Okay, so it's Hall and not Ingersoll.
Oh,
Is that correct?
Most of the trees, yes, most of the trees are between 5th and 7th. There is one flowering fruit tree on the north side of the street between 4th and 5th. It's going to be an issue also.
Okay, so that's the third block of Hall then. So the first two blocks, we do know those trees are, and what you're saying, there's a potential one in that third block.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's potential. That flowering fruit tree needs to come out as well.
Okay, so there it impacts 3 blocks, and that's what I'm talking about. The cost is way phenomenal here for us to take for residential when we have all of the impacts that we're doing down here first. I think once we can get a handle on that, then we can jump out to residential and look at these areas and then start doing something with it.
so basically there's no money for residential this year.
Well, that's just it. Our bike ped, every year I try to budget, we have, and all these funds are coming out of our concrete, asphalt line item. So we've been working toward our asphalt program, and making things flow there a little bit. So those funds now are going over to capital. So I run about sometimes between $60,000 and $90,000 in that fund. Problem of it is, it's for the entire city. So,
Yeah.
and that's not a whole lot of money when you're talking projects like this for $100,000.
There goes your budget.
It just eats it down. I mean, you're gone before you know it. But the city's priorities obviously were streets, and that's the reason why you're seeing the streets get a major workover that they're getting now. But we have to get a handle on these potholes, and we're working through that now. We had around about 2010, about 8 years ago, potholes. We've got that list down to about 400. So I believe once we are able to get it down to a consistent 100 every year of potholes, readjusting, then we can reappropriate dollars. And I'm saying that's probably within the next year and a half. Then we can look at residential streets of what those impacts and start putting plans together for those too. Okay? That's all I had under the board comments, so I'll turn it over to each one of you.
I have a comment. So, I volunteer down at the visitor center on Thursday mornings.
Well,
Just
good for
came
you,
back
Blair.
from there. And I'm frankly not very happy about the way the city has taken care of the landscaping around the visitor center.
The visitor center?
There's nothing but there's 2 dead trees that have been there for months. And dead leaves, dead weeds, tall grass that hasn't been taken care of, shrubbery that hasn't been pruned. And
Wow.
I know that if the city's desire to have Native American emphasis there, but I think we've gone too far on that because I think, dead weeds and stuff you can find anywhere. You don't have to go here. So I'd really like to see the city take care of that, or if they don't want to do it, maybe they consider finding somebody else that wants to do that on a help basis or something. But it doesn't look very good for our visitors. I mean, we get, I think in July, I think we had over 2,000 people come through there and they're looking at this dead stuff.
Okay.
And,
Well-
they think that's the way it's supposed to be in Coos Bay, but we know that's not right.
Sure, and you're right. It's curb appeal is
But
Is-
somebody planted those trees because they're still the labels are still on the roots. And so they put it there and they weren't watered, they weren't taken care of. So if we're gonna plant something there, we need to make sure we take care of it.
Yeah, if you're gonna get it planted.
We need
Okay.
to clean that up, we really do. I know it's in the visitor center now, visitor season now, but, it should be taken care of.
Okay.
You're right. You say the labels are still down around the roots. Are we positive they were planted properly in the first place?
Well,
That was,
I didn't-
that would have
I
been,
didn't
that would have
have
been
my
back
hands
to
in
the
it.
day when the facility would have been built. Because we haven't planted anything there, so when the facility was built and the vegetation and plant was there, then that's a possibility, whoever planted that may not.
Well, I think that these were planted not too long ago.
Were they?
I mean, they're, 4 feet tall and they look like they were.
Did we plant anything in there, John?
They tried to plant, I don't know.
We had it in there during my tenure.
What was that?
We have not planted anything in there during my tenure.
It's not, it wasn't planted by us, it was planted there. It could have been VIC, maybe,
Well,
even some, I don't know.
that could be.
But I hear
But
you,
we need to
Blair.
get
I think what I need to do, because each facility, so you understand how the budget process works for us. So when you have a facility, facilities are budgeted already with dollars, not from Public Works, but for that facility. And then we submit landscape costs to try to get those dollars to maintain these facilities. But ultimately, it's the budget process. When I submit, I can tell you what, I have no problem requesting the funds. The problem is when it goes through the final budget process of the committee and those funds get divvied up, I have no control of that. I can request the dollars, and I have. But if they get nixed and go elsewhere because there's not enough funds, then I have no control of that.
Well,
And-
just let me say, I know these are weird times, but I had a couple today come in from California, up 101. They said from Crescent City to Coos Bay, we were the only visitor center open.
Wow,
So,
that is a statement.
Yeah.
Well, we'll look at this and do what we can to improve it within the resources we have. And I will also put in the budget again, the budget process, for each one of our facilities, a maintenance budget to enhance the landscape around it. Now, and I don't have a problem putting that together, but of course, I'm looking for everybody in the community to support that when it comes to the budget committee.
well, just let us know when we have to say something.
Okay, I will get it, I don't have a problem putting justification, because I do that every budget year. I put a justification statement in, and I don't have a problem, and I've done it. Problem is getting them to approve them dollars to make sure I got them for that next year is the issue. And so what happens is that I got so many irons, the fish,
Sure.
the bigger fish eat that bait, so.
I understand.
What if we ask for help from some of the service clubs?
Well, the help, I mean, we can get volunteer, and we use a lot of volunteers. Yes,
Yeah.
we use a lot of volunteers.
They might,
To do the initial, that's fine,
you
but
know,
you
they
have
might
the,
pitch in for a couple of new trees and clean the place up.
oh, no, that's not a problem. We can get getting it established is not an issue. We can get established. We have work crews in this community that is phenomenal. It's the longevity, the daily tasks that we need to do to make sure we're there long enough to do the daily tasks that we need to do. Not just go there, pick up garbage and go, but go there, put bark down every other couple weeks when it's looking sparse, clean up the vegetation, limbs, and any of the dead, dying debris, or for that matter, make sure that I don't believe any of those islands have any irrigation.
That was my next question. Are
So
we
that
sure
would be the
there's-
starting point, see?
Are
is
we
a
sure there's
complete
water for
landscape
these?
plan for it,
Yeah.
see? And that's what I'm saying, all these sites, so I'll draft up for all city facilities a work plan with irrigation and what that takes. And when we're ready to go, then I'm gonna send out
Well,
emails to all you folks to come to those budget committees and say, hey, this is what we're wanting to try to put
Let's
together.
explore that, find out if there is water available to
I tell you,
out
there isn't, I already
There
know
is,
that.
you already know there is not. Well, that was dumb.
Yeah, well, that's, back in the day when that facility was being built, they were saying, well, we can't afford to, I'm just telling you, that was the concept. But I've always said curb appeal, if you look at the north entry, that's just a little stamp. That thing should be 5 times the size of what it is, and we should have a nice color hedges out there and flowers promoting Coos Bay. But it is what we have, and it's a small one, but it's better than nothing.
No,
Our
it's
south one
not
is
if
a
it's-
little bit better.
Not if it's dead, it's not. The rule is if you can't get water to it, don't plant it there.
Well, VIC does not have any irrigation in those beds, I know
Oh,
that.
man.
But that's something that I can put together in a bid package and have that in part of the budget. Not only just for here, you know, there's limited water here, even at City Hall. So for all, what I'm saying, for all city facilities owned by the city, I'd put a budget package for each one of them and say, this is what it would take to maintain it at this level, if that's what we're wanting. And I'll bring all those back to us and the
Okay.
Parks Board
Okay,
to get support from everybody here. Then when we get to the budget process, then let's look at what we need to hammer the
Okay.
council to get us the dollars to help us out here, if that's working with you guys.
sure, send us all emails when you
Okay.
get us there.
I'll get them put together.
All right.
Anything else? Any other comments? Huh?
I don't have anything.
Anyone else out there in video land?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Nothing.
Haley, you all right? All right, well, I appreciate everybody attending today. I thank you very much, and we'll probably be doing this, the next round would be what, December, so we'll be back out doing another one in December. Thank you very much, and everybody have a good day. Well, great, I'll get budgets put together for that, and then I'll bring them all back to everybody, but what I'll do is send them out or an email so everybody can give me chats, you know, you give me some chats on what I'll do, and